Hello, I'm Scunny, a City Skylines player based in the UK. I focus on relaxed, creative building that balances aesthetics while exploring the game's mechanics. Today we're back in Middlesfjord, a city located on the scenic Windy Fjords map using the European theme. In this session, we will redevelop an old industrial area that was once prominent in oil production, but now features education, homes, and culture. Additionally, we'll explore formalizing a large city park to preserve an important green space before the city expands further. Hello and welcome back. We're here in the Glen Medical area where we're going to focus much of our attention today. The idea of this episode is to complete the regeneration project of this oil industrial area. We still have a few remnants left from when this was all oil fields. And if you're familiar with the Windy Fjords map, you'll know that this whole area is rich in oil deposits. But after a while, once you use the specialized oil industry zones, the natural resources soon dry up. So if we have a quick look at our natural resources overview, you can see much of this area has cleared of any natural resources. And we just have a few areas, a few patches left over that weren't originally zoned. And I'll tell you what, I'll show you what this used to look like when it was all oil. So let me just close this and we can go back to an old save. So this is an old save. This is the 100k edition. This is the one that's currently available on the PDX mod store. If you want to search Middlesfjord 100k, you'll be able to download this and play it yourself. And this is the area that has been redeveloped over time. And we have the medical hospital along here, along with offices and some homes. We even sneaked in a little prison in this alcove between the hills here too. And yeah, I mean, the aim of this project has just been to reuse what I think is quite valuable land close to the city centre, and also push out some of the more dirty industry further out in places that won't cause as much of an issue. If we have a look at our pollution info view, and you can see not a lot of air pollution in this area. Yeah, the ground pollution's pretty bad too. And if I just remove these buildings, we're not saving this. The ground pollution was quite light in areas, so when we zoned this area for offices and homes, we were weaving around any of the ground pollution. And I imagine now in the latest version, most of that has cleared up. The one part that has kind of stuck around has been the fuel plant. And the fuel plant is a cause of much pollution, both air and ground, mostly ground by the looks of it. And without the oil production in the area anymore, there's not much purpose of having it here. Let's jump back to our latest version of the city. And we're back. And as I mentioned, yeah, we got the offices down here. We got a few of the row homes, a few mixed use density down here. But overall, this area has come together really nicely. And to finish off the project, I want to remove the fuel plant. I also want to formalize a central green space in the city. We don't really have anything that has as much prominence in the area. We do have the cemetery that's quite full, and we've got a few of these fields around the school. And everywhere else is quite hilly or associated to either the university or the castle. But I'd like to actually have a dedicated park space that will eventually be the heart of the city. And to do that, I want to clean up some of the businesses in the area. So removing the fuel plant, let's just do that now. I'm also going to remove the bus depot. We built quite a large bus depot in our original BRT project, which has quite a lot of capacity. And with the bus lanes in place now, we have quite good access for buses to return to the depot for maintenance. So we're going to remove that as well. And along with that, I don't really see a place for these animal farms either, which are usually in reality quite messy and smelly and are surrounded by more and more development. I imagine these will go as well. And remembering where we had these buildings, we have this block here and this one here. This is the area that I want to develop. And I think we could probably take advantage of some of our landmark buildings that come with the Ultimate Edition. Specifically the National Gallery of Art. I can see that fitting in here quite nicely. I can see this is around about the right size for this building here. And I'd also like to feature a new college so that we can increase our capacity. And this should sit neatly at the side of the National Art Gallery too. Now, I want to preserve the farms as fields. These can probably become more ornate in the future as we develop the park. But today I'd like to focus on improving our educational and cultural offering in the city and covering up any of the ground pollution left over from the industry that once sat here. Additionally, I'd like to increase capacity on this arterial road that we have coming into the city, increasing traffic flow and continuing to offer efficient public transport. This does mean removing some of the businesses along here, but along with the art gallery and the new college, I think we can redevelop this area to be a beautiful space that people can admire as they come into the main city core. So after clearing the main buildings, let's start to remove some of the zone buildings too, and just make some space for our build today. I also need to move back the transformer over to the other side of the road, just so that we've got enough room for the art gallery. This just needs to be done by adjusting some of the existing oil industry and connect that back up. We'll plant a few bushes along the side of the road just to make it a little bit more hidden as you come into the city. And let's remove some of these roads, trying to keep as many as possible and see if we can fit this in. I think I just need to remove some more on this side and then we should be good. And now I'm going to start to connect up some of the roadways that are included in the asset to the city grid itself. Next up, I need to fix some of these roads so that they're not too lumpy and bumpy. And using the continuous curve tool helps us achieve that. And then we're able to place our college nice and centrally there. Now, I'd like to include some gardens at the front of this asset in between the local road and the arterial road. I'm not sure that this park really works here. And that should be nearly all the roads connected up. We just have a few on the side here. Some small adjustments to the terrain and we're able to pop that in there. And then we just need to connect the final road up here, and we can add this little mini roundabout in just to make it look a little bit more unique. I still want to have some access to the arterial road from the local road, and I'm just trying out using some of the one-way roads. I think we remove them later on, they're not needed, and include a pedestrian road along the front of the asset. After this, I wanted to adjust some of the country roads that run through the new park area and have this hug the back of the new college, and also expand on the parking facilities available so that we have plenty of spaces for people to park. Next up, I finally upgrade the arterial road to be 6 lanes wide. This gives 1 lane of traffic to buses and 2 lanes of traffic to regular vehicles in one direction. What's nice about using an avenue road here with a grass median in between is that it allows pedestrians to stop halfway across the road if they need to. Now we're starting to work on some custom gardens along the front of the property. I think if we can reflect some of the existing paths in the asset, it should be able to integrate better into the city itself. I'm just reflecting the shapes here, and we can add some foliage afterwards. I'm seeing that there's a lot of congestion on this road here, so maybe we can put in a roundabout on this side and do away with the one-way system. However, later on I do remove this as I find that it's not very good for pedestrian use. Next up, again, I'm taking inspiration from the shapes found in the National Art Gallery, drawing this circle frame here, and I start placing down some of the shrubs and bushes. I'm making use of all the different size bushes to take up as much space as possible. As you can see, we already have one person using the pathway to get to the bus shelter. The art gallery itself has 100+ bonus points for indoor recreation. So when it next rains or snows, we'll get even more people visiting the attraction. And to finish off this area, I'm just going to line these pathways with a short hedge. And we'll cap it off by adding some of these lovely large oak trees along the main road, just to shield the area from noise and pollution. Quite like the way this looks now, with the 6-lane road being pulled all the way up to the intersection and kind of losing that slip road. I don't think this is a major movement up here, so we don't necessarily need to have traffic moving at all times. And it looks like we might actually have created a single phase traffic light by accident. So that means these people can only go when they've stopped and they've stopped. So I don't think that is the most optimum setup. So I'm going to have to draw this again. This vehicle has stopped. Let's see if we can get another vehicle to come up here. So that bus has gone through. The bus has gone through, yeah, so that's fine. So these two lights will be green at the same time, and then the road heading up here will be red. I've just noticed that this back alley of this building is absolutely insane, so I'm going to just dezone the back of the property and we can just get a smaller building in here. I think that'll be fine. Now I'm just going to clean up some of these fields. I imagine these will be open green fields for now. We've got quite a lot of woodlands and paths coming through, and it's always nice to kind of define these field areas by having some open green space. Just grab our tree tool, turn off the remove only matching type, and then we can just kind of right click and just remove some of these trees that are in the middle of the field. Yeah, and having this road jut out here beside the cab height isn't ideal, but I really did want to add more parking capacity in this area. Perhaps it's not needed. We've got this one here, which is only around about, 50-60% full. So perhaps we can use this land for future development. I think it's only natural that the college would want to preserve some space for future expansion, and this could be one of those places. I've noticed I've left the street parking on the road, so I'm just going to update that to use the grass verge along here. I think if we're giving them plenty of off-street parking, there's no need to have street parking, not until at least there is more capacity needed. And with the road kind of jutting out here, I would like to add a footpath. Create a very kind of like rough, straight shape. I don't want it to be perfect. And then let's pull that into there, and then let's create another one that loops around there. And maybe we throw a couple of bushes in. And that kind of defines this field here. So it kind of breaks it up. I've got this area at the back of the art gallery. I've put in this semicircle shape to kind of reflect the openness of the architecture of the building. I think it would be interesting to add some gardens here as well. I think next to this cap out we can squeeze in a small bit of development, and let's just run that straight up here. Some mixed use here, since we've got the college, we've got quite a lot of offices in the area, so we probably would need some people living here possibly. We'll put a little corner unit there, and then maybe just a little skinny one there. And let's put in a little medium as well. I think this has turned out really nice. I really like how the gardens match up with the asset itself, And we've got this small little bushy plaza at the front here that people can wait by as they get the bus. And yeah, overall, the area is looking a lot neater, a lot tidier than what we had before with the oil refinery. We have this beautiful avenue here leading up to the college, and altogether it's come out quite nice. I and ahed about having the roundabout here. Additionally, I did place a roundabout up this end as well, which has also been removed just down here. I just found that with the pedestrians and with the left and the right turns, it started to become a little bit choked up, and the lights kind of offer a little bit more control when the pedestrians can cross, and also allowing the buses to keep having priority over the intersection. And overall, it's flowing quite nicely. I've not got any plans to expand this wide road any further into the city. And I really like how these two mixed-use development buildings kind of come together as one construction project. I really like the look of this area alongside the college. We've got the gardens and the car park that kind of just blend into the road infrastructure. As mentioned in the time-lapse earlier, I wanted to preserve as many of the roads as possible. The only one that kind of had a issue was this one that kind of peeled off the main arterial road through the car park. And we did have to create this little jog around, but I wanted to ensure that we had enough parking capacity in the area, and I'm sure this will see more use over time, especially if we want to add some more cultural activities in the park itself. But overall, I've tried to keep most of the roads the same. This one at the front of the gallery was just a regular two-way road, which is now being pedestrianized, and it does turn into a regular road, giving access to the car park at the back here. And we've also got this nice little ornate plaza at the back, which overlooks the field, and we've got these trees here that will eventually hide the tram depot, and perhaps in the future we may want to relocate this as well, depending on what new assets are added to the game. And yeah, overall, I really enjoy how this integrates into the existing city grid, and we're able to reuse some of the infrastructure, similar to how we redeveloped the original oil fields too. And if we take a wider look at the area, we've now got a prominent green space that is a major feature to the city, and depending on how the game develops in the future, we may be able to designate these as park areas. And for now, we've got these small walkways going through the area, and you have seen some people using them. We've got some lady here walking through, and I think it's a much cleaner look compared to having the farms, much more realistic at least. I'm not a big fan of the way these populate with random buildings in the center of the fields, but you know, that's part of the game for now, and that might change in the future. So thank you again for joining me on this build, and apologies for the delay in getting this one out. As I mentioned earlier, I've had quite a rough time trying to use my voice while recording, as well as traveling for work and pleasure. So the next video should come out a lot sooner than later. And we also have the next patch to look forward to, which I'm considering starting a new city, as it's heavily focused on updating the economy, and the economy in this city is completely shot as we're at the ceiling of our budget. and I'd like to be challenged again. So look forward to sharing a new city with you.